Great. So again, thank you all for joining us this afternoon on September 3rd, 2014. NLAAD is about a month away, and we're very excited to get the ball rolling and provide you with as much information as possible that you might need to effectively implement your event locally. So again, October 15th, National Latino AIDS Awareness Day. The topic of the fourth in our series of webinar topics is promoting your NLAAD event, maximizing community participation. So that's the main focus of today's discussion. Before we get started, as you'll see in the agenda in a minute, that we'll do some quick introductions, general NLAAD updates and announcements as far as content and information that you might find useful from the website and other pertinent information. Then we'll also do the meat of the discussion, which is utilizing marketing techniques. So pretty much how do you market your NLAAD event to make sure that you get the maximum amount of participation from the local community. So before we get started, just some general housekeeping. The lines are currently muted. We do this to eliminate that background noise that we hear that makes it difficult to hear during the course of the conversation. If at any point you want to unmute your line, you can do so by pressing *7, and you can mute it again by pressing *6. You can also are more than welcome to use the chat function, which is on the left-hand side of the screen. And I will try to respond to your comments or questions as we move through the content and information. There will be sections of the call where we'll unmute all the lines, as we will in a minute during the introductions, so that we could all have an open space and dialogue as we move through the content. At the end of the webinar, please make sure to fill out that evaluation form. That evaluation form is critical in capturing your feedback, and again, using that to then inform how we deliver content in the future and make sure that it's as effective and useful for you as possible. So again, my name is Tony Ochoa. I'm the Program Manager for National Latino AIDS Awareness Day at the Latino Commission AIDS here in New York City. What we'll do now is we'll unmute the lines, and what we'll ask you to do is please just give us your name, your state, your city, and also your organization. So I'm going to unmute the lines now.
The conference has been unmuted.
And again, my name is Tony Ochoa with the Latino Commission on AIDS here in New York City, New York. So feel free to jump in or introduce yourself over the chat.
Yes, I'm Sabrina Phillips, calling from Meridian Behavioral Health Care Incorporated in Gainesville, Florida.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Gracie Kemp and Carrie Mann from West Tennessee Legal Services in Jackson, Tennessee.
Hey, Gracie.
Hi, I'm Sasha Yamas with Pacific Pride Foundation in California from Santa Barbara.
Hey, Sasha.
Eric Garcia, St. Louis City Department of Health, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi. Hello, Gerardo Higginson, Director of Community Relations and Public Affairs for Univision, Arizona, and also I'm the Chairman of the Phoenix AIDS Walk.
Great, welcome.
I am Susan Lee with Shelby County Schools in Memphis, Tennessee, HIV Prevention Coordinator funded by CDC.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Eric Garcia, St. Louis City Department of Health, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, Eric.
Hi.
Shatora Smith, Harlem Dowling West Side Center. I'm in New York, New York.
Wonderful.
Gladys Jenner-Jan, ACQC.
Hey, Gladys.
Hello.
Iris Corpus, County of Orange, Healthcare Agency Public Health, Orange County, California.
Great.
Jonathan Martinez, A4AIDS International, New York City. I'm the Outreach Coordinator for HIV and AIDS.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hey.
Hello, this is Crystal Mobley from the Florida Department of Health in Broward County, Minority AIDS Coordinator.
Hey, Crystal.
Hi.
We also have Michael Stencil in Missouri, the Department of Health and Senior Services. And we also have on the chat Elvira in Little Rock, Arkansas. Anyone else want to introduce themselves over the line?
Ray Roberts from 16th Street Community Health Center, HIV Department, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
What do I do?
Maheen.
And I have Naron Cole here also as well.
Wonderful. Great. So thank you all for introducing yourselves and also joining us on the call this afternoon. I know it was a long weekend, so I'm sure some of us are pretty busy trying to catch up on emails and also work during the day that we had off. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and mute the lines again just to eliminate some of that background noise. And again, if at any point you want to pose a question, you can do so in the chat function, or you can also unmute your line by pressing *7. So I'm going to go ahead and mute the lines once more.
The conference has been muted.
So we're going to start off with some general announcements as far as what you guys might be asking on what's going on with National Teenage Awareness Day nationally. I'm going to start with the congressional briefing. The congressional briefing, again, is something we announced in the last call, but again, it's going to be happening next week on September 9th. And the congressional briefing is intended to support elected officials in understanding the impact of HIV/AIDS and viral hepatitis among Hispanics in the U.S. South and Puerto Rico. That's the focus of this year's congressional briefing in commemoration of National Teenage Awareness Day. What we will be doing is we'll be broadcasting it live. So we'll send out a link where you'd be able to view the congressional briefing live while it's happening. And we'll also be recording it for those of you that might be on the West Coast that might be coming in a little later, so you can view that at a later time as well. On top of that, again, for any partners interested in conducting student recept surveys, I mentioned it during the last call again, that's still available for you to participate in. And again, it's a very useful way for you all to capture what's going on with Latinos locally and what their actions are based on your local events and your NLAAD event. So you can capture that information and see how effective that campaign or local event was this past year. And again, we use this information as a way to develop and implement the campaign from year to year. So it's very useful for us nationally to make sure the campaign really includes what's going on with your region and location and helps us develop the content from year to year, and also for you locally to understand what's going on with Latinos and HIV and AIDS. What I want to focus most of our time with as far as announcements go is that the website is up and running. I've spent the last couple of days updating content to make sure it's as available and ready for you as possible. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to screen share my screen so you guys can all see how you can access that information and resources available for you on the NLAAD website. So again, the NLAAD website is www.nlaad.org. And once you go there, you'll see that it looks like this. It has the new graphics for this year's campaign theme. And again, this year's campaign theme is to end AIDS, commit to act. And it's a prompt call to action for community members to get involved with ending HIV and AIDS, whether they're positive, whether they're negative, whether they're assessing the risk factors or not, or whatnot. And again, what oftentimes most people have a hard time seeing is that there's this menu button up here on the top right. If you click that menu button is where you'll see that there's a menu that comes up on the right-hand side of the screen. And mind you, in order to access the resources on the website as a partner, partners need to register to access that. And again, we ask that partners register every year to make sure that we have information that's updated and current from year to year. So even though you registered last year, you'll need to register again, which is useful because oftentimes most people forget their passwords from last year anyway. So it's just we remove the data from last year's registrants and leave it fresh so that people can register again. And you can register again as a partner to access resources, order content or whatnot by clicking partner registration. So you'll need to register first before you can access the resources that you'll see available in a minute. So you'll fill out this form here very quickly by giving you information. I'm doing that now as you speak so you can see how fast it is. So you can fill that out. And it'll ask you for your password twice, and that's to make sure that there isn't a mistake, which is pretty common as far as most registrations are involved. And then you can create your own password. And you'll need to click Commit, Accept Terms of Registration before you submit the registration form. And just say registration. What did it ask me to do? Oh, it's probably because I already have an email. Yeah. Cheesy fries. Okay. Something's going on here. It says, as you can see, it says the email's already entered, which it might do because I already have an account created now. There we go. So again, if once you click on menu now and you registered, after registration, this is where you get your confirmation, and you'll see that now that you're logged in and you registered, at the bottom is where you see something that wasn't there before, right? So you see products, and products is where you'll be able to order your information, order things like the testing kit, and again, there's a maximum of 75 testing kits per partner that you can request, and you got to make sure that you enter your CLIA waiver ID number. We won't be able to provide you with your testing kits unless we receive your CLIA waiver ID number, and that needs to be entered here. And then you'll click there to add it to the cart, and then you can order a maximum of 20 of each poster. So you'll see there's the English poster and the Spanish poster. So you enter the quantity, add to cart, and the quantity there, add to cart. Order now. Do you want to proceed with your order? Yes. And again, another reason why you got to make sure that you enter the appropriate information when you register as far as your address goes is because that's going to be the shipping address that you'll see here, right? And it gives you the contact information so that we can streamline the processing of your order. If you have any questions, it tells you at the top to contact me, tochoa@tinoe.org. Other resources that are available on the website that you can download directly are the posters. You can download the posters directly. You can download the posters directly here, the English and Spanish versions, or you can download the fact sheets. Or you can also download content that's available for you to access your event planning. So a generic proclamation sample, radio public service announcement sample, sample letter to local business, sample press release, and working with media and or event. So, and again, it's a pretty streamlined process. What we do ask you to do before you order any products is you got to make sure you enter your event information, because this is where community members are going to come to find local events that are happening locally. So please make sure you enter your event information by clicking events back there where I just showed you under menu, manage your events. Once you click that, it'll come to this page and you'll hit add event, and that's where you'll enter your event information here. So the title of your event there, the description of your event, and then your location. So where's the event taking place, and then from what time to what time, from what date to what date, and then times, right? So you got to make sure you complete this information, and then at the end of it, hit publish, so that it will be recorded on the main site. If at any point you have any trouble with it, I gave you guys a quick run through of how to access that information, but you are more than welcome to contact me over email. to help you with accessing some of those things, okay? I'm going to unmute the line very quickly to see if anyone has any questions.
The conference has been unmuted.
Does anyone have any questions about how to access what on the website? The lines are currently unmuted, so you can just go ahead and talk. No? And that's okay. I generally get a lot of calls from people asking, how do I register? So I just wanted to make sure I walk through people how to register and how to access the campaign kit information, or how to register your event, or how to request products to be ordered or delivered to you. So again, we'll be able to mail you the posters, and you can also request testing kits for your NLAAD event. And again, we got to make sure that those testing kits you're requesting for are for your NLAAD event specifically. And that's again something that was offered as a courtesy and donation from our partner Orchestra Technologies to provide to our partners that are hosting testing at their local events. Great. So any questions whatsoever before we move on to... Yes?
No questions. Hello?
Yes?
Are they rapid tests that you would be...
Yes, they are.
Okay.
There's an Orchestra or a quick test. Okay. Great. So if anyone has any questions, again, you can enter them in the chat box throughout the webinar. You can also contact me over email. That's usually the best way to get a response from me pretty quickly, more so than a phone call. So give me an email with any questions. I'll try to get back to you. I'm going to put the line back on mute so we can get started on...
has been muted.
Which is promoting your NLAAD event and maximizing community participation. So the way in which we generally recommend doing any promotion or any marketing is usually using marketing techniques, which I'll run through with you all now. What marketing generally does is it incorporates what's called the 4 Ps, and the 4 Ps each stand for a different word. The Ps are product, price, place, and promotion, right? So we can, even though we're not selling a product, which is what marketing generally does, we can still incorporate the same principles when it comes to marketing or promoting an event. So in the case of selling a product, and the product in the 4 Ps is the actual product, right? So it could be any of the products that we're oftentimes marketed with, or we'll see advertisements for, right? So it could be Pepsi, it could be Aquafina water, Cheetos, or whatever we'll see, right? It's the actual, the P in product is the actual product you're selling. So I ask you guys now, in our case, what's the product? And you can type that into the chat box. What's our product that we're trying to promote? So someone said HIV awareness. Definitely, right? So increase HIV awareness, that's the product we're trying to sell. Other things, HIV testing and prevention, that's another product, right? Exactly. So if you're thinking about these as promoting your NLAAD event, Linda said increasing HIV testing. Michael said HIV awareness and prevention through NLAAD. So again, the actual product here is what our event, right? What we're trying to get people to participate in for National Latino AIDS Awareness Day. So it could be your testing event. It could be your vigil. It could be your performance that you're doing in commemoration of National Latino AIDS Awareness Day. It could be condom distribution, right? Like Buenaventura just said. So that's the actual product you're pitching. It isn't something you're selling. It isn't a product like this, but a product in the sense that this is where you're trying to promote. You're trying to promote an NLAAD event, right? So the next P is the actual price. And when it comes to a product, the price is usually straightforward, right? We know the general price of a Coke can could be, $1.50 or whatever it may be, or the price of a gallon of milk. We know the actual product when it comes to a product, right? But in the case of our case, what's the price of an event? The price of an event is the cost of doing something else versus attending your event. That's the actual price. And it's important for us to think about this as a price, because it's a cost-benefit, right? What's the benefit of the person attending your event? That's what we're trying to make sure that people understand in your promotion messaging. So what's the benefit of me attending your event versus relaxing at home, versus watching a movie, versus just spending time with my friends, versus going out? So you have to somehow address the benefit to attending this event to the population you're trying to reach. And oftentimes a lot of people forget to incorporate that into their messaging, which creates a barrier for people to want to attend their event, right? So it's about making sure that people, the general community, the people you're trying to target, their price is doing something else versus attending your event. So you got to try to convince them that it's a benefit to attend your event, right? So that could be done in the graphics or language that you use that we'll talk about in a minute. The third P is the place. And when we're talking about marketing a product, the place is very easy. It's where a person can find that product. Is it a mall? Is it a bodega? Is it a market? Where can that person find the product you're trying to sell? In our case, it's more straightforward. Is where's that actual event taking place, right? When is it taking place? What date? What location is it taking place? What's the address? So you got to make sure that you incorporate this in your promotion so that someone knows, so they know when and where your event's taking place. And also your contact information, right? So in case someone wants to reach you, they can contact you to find out where your event's taking place exactly, or other pertinent details, where they can pick up a condom if that's what your NLAAD event is focused on, or where to get an HIV test, and what dates and what times will be available to do those, right? And the last P is the one that usually takes a little more work. And the fourth P is promotion, right? Promotion is where we can be the most creative as far as how we promote our NLAAD event. You can think of this as where is your actual flyer or material or presentation or whatever you're going to do to solicit participation going to be taking place? Are you doing a billboard? Are you doing a presentation at a church to try to get people to come? Are you doing an advertisement at a bus stop? Are you going to be doing handing out flyers at a mercado? Are you going to be promoting your event with palm cards at a barber shop? Is it something that you're going to somehow publicize at a nightclub? Is it something you're doing on social media? So these are all platforms, places where you can promote your NLAAD event. So that's how you can think of promotion. Where is it that your community that you're trying to target going to be able to pick up information about your event? So think about what they do and who you're targeting and where you can find them to best promote them seeing your actual advertising or promotion for your NLAAD event. So I'm going to give you guys an example. Here we see what looks like a little kid standing outside of a door asking for money, right? So but what's actually taking place is that's a decal, a sticker. So in this case, the promotion is the door where they put the sticker of the little boy asking for money. And the promotion, this takes place at a bank, which is where oftentimes, in this location, kids oftentimes were asking for money, being that, usually people pull money out of the bank right as they're going in or out. And the whole promotion of this was getting people to do something about kids that were asking for money on the streets, right? Because they wanted to give them shelter. So this particular organization was asking people, hey, anytime you see a kid asking for money, call us so that we can provide them with services. So push him out of begging and not out of your way. So getting people to do something. The promotion was the actual sticker on the door outside of the bank, right? And they knew the reason why this would be a good place to promote this was because that's where kids were. That's where people oftentimes pushed kids out of the way or avoided them to try to get through, and that's where they promoted their messaging. So I'm going to ask you guys a question now, and you can answer this in the next section, in the next slide, where you'll be able to answer responses. Is what are some places that you feel might be a good place to promote to Latinos in your area? So again, you can answer this question here. And again, the question is, what are some places that you feel might be a good place to promote to Latinos? And you can answer that in that box right there. So I'll give you guys a minute to answer those responses. What are some places that you feel might be a good place to promote to Latinos? So Efren just said Latin food market, Latin clubs, churches. Someone said community center, markets, barbershops. Someone said Univision newscast, Spanish print media, Facebook. Latino restaurants and malls, churches, restaurants, supermarkets. Latino service providers. Latino strip in St. Louis. So again, we're starting to think about critically, where is it that we can target Latinos? Where can we find them so that we can make sure that we're not just throwing our flyers anywhere, but we're actually thinking about where we can promote to really reach the population we're trying to reach. What I've been doing at the local organizations that help the Latino community, laundromat, panaderías. So again, these places that we can potentially think of as partners too to help us promote our National Latino AIDS Awareness Day event. Where will they see flyers or things like this, or hear about it to best reach them? So these are some great ideas. Thank you very much for sharing. Those are awesome. So promotion has to do with where we're actually going to promote it, but also the content, the messages that we're going to use. So what's that flyer going to look like? What's that radio announcement going to sound like? What's that video going to be like that we're going to share on Facebook to promote it on that event? So ultimately, when we're creating messaging can incorporate 4 different types of content, right? It could be written text. It could be writing. So we can actually write something on somewhere to hand out. It could be pictures. Pictures can be used to convey messaging. It could be an audio. It could be something that we can distribute to radios to promote people coming to your NLAAD event. It could be a video that you incorporate, right? Or it could be a combination of one of these things. It could be a picture with text on it, right? That could be a way in which, those are ways in which we can create content and messaging. And again, those are all depending, how we incorporate those depend on where we're publicizing it, right? Obviously, if we're talking about handing out something outside of a street, outside on the street, we can't hand out a video. Maybe we can have a screen where they can see it, but it'd be more conducive to have a visual flyer with some text to let people know what your NLAAD event is and where it's taking place and why it's important to attend it, right? So again, it's important to think about what type of images you're using and how you're promoting what you're doing. So again, it's an incorporation of text and how you're really branding your event to make sure that it's targeting the people that it's intended to, right? So how is your flyer, your actual graphic, speaking to Latinos? And it's also important to be mindful of literacy, right? You got to make sure that you're not using very large words or very complicated words that aren't very common. Oftentimes we're asked, is it appropriate to use slang or is it best to use formal language? Think about what the language that community is using and try to incorporate that within your messaging to best reach them. Because obviously if they see you using the language that they're using, they're gonna consider it a bit of a cultural competency. And again, visual literacy. So what is the preferred visual style of the target population? What do the images mean? How often do the images use? So again, using language and images that really speak to that particular population. So again, going back, it's important to incorporate the 4 Ps in your messaging. Understand what your product is. What are you trying to get them to do? Are you trying to get them to take a test? Are you trying to get them to go to an event? Are you trying to get them to attend a workshop? What are you trying to get them to do? And what's the price? What's the benefit of attending that versus doing something else? So you got to try to convince them what's the benefit to them to attend it. Oftentimes people think just because I'm going to host an event that everyone is going to come. That it doesn't always work that way. You got to try to convince the people to say, hey, instead of relaxing at home, you can be taking care of your family and thinking about how you can best be mindful of their health or how you can communicate with your family effectively. And that could be the price, right? That's the price of attending it, right? That they're gonna leave with something that they're gonna grow from. And the places where the event's taking place, and the promotion is where you're actually promoting your event. So where is it that you're gonna be distributing promotional material to get people to come to your event? Are there any questions about the 4 Ps and how to use them in a way that will help you promote your NLAAD event? I'm going to go ahead and unmute the lines right now.
The conference has been unmuted.
So are there any questions about the 4 Ps or how to promote your NLAAD event using this model? Or any feedback or commentary? No? You can also enter any comments or questions you might have in the chat box, and we can answer them throughout the course of the next section before we close out.
Yes, actually, can you help us, like, using social media, like, running your, item for that, or using Facebook to promote that event?
Hello?
Someone's trying to, I'm hearing soft voices in the back. I'm not sure if someone's trying to ask a question, or if there's just background noise.
I'm not sure if you can hear me. This is Cheryl Smith.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Darling. Okay, great. I actually thought that the 4 Ps were actually very effective, especially the price. You know, it's like, what would make people want to come to this versus staying at home watching TV, you know. So I really like that piece of the information that you provided.
And it's something, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's also a good place to address barriers too, right? Because oftentimes people say, well, I can't go to that event because I don't have transportation. What can you do then? You can then incorporate, hey, it's easily accessible by taking so-and-so bus or so-and-so train, right? So you're already thinking about what might be a potential barrier and addressing it in your promotional material.
Yep. Thank you for that.
Problem. So Karen also mentioned another way to think about price is price can also be the opportunity cost. So cost of missing out, what are you losing from not attending the event, right? So that's another way to think about price, right? So what is it you're actually losing out from not attending, which is another way of phrasing it, which is called a gain frame or a loss frame when it comes to messaging. So thanks for, I'm seeing that someone just asked about the NLAAD website as far as downloading materials. Iris, I noticed that too, that it's bringing up an error. And I think it has to do something with the Dropbox account, which I'm going to check right after I get off of the line. I'll make sure to fix that in email. I'm also going to be sending out an email, again, summarizing, letting the general network know that the NLAAD website is available. So I'll address those concerns in that email as well.
Yo voy a alcanzar el 11, tú pues pide el día que tú quieras, pero...
I have a question.
Sure.
It's for the promotion. Do you guys, do you guys have anything already pre-record for radio or you know?
It is, but what we'll be doing this year also, there are some podcasts available on the website under media. Here, I'll show you where that is right now. But if you go to the website, there's a portion on the menu where it says media resources. There should be one on podcasts where we had one recorded from last year. What we're doing this year is we're also doing a national radio tour where we're going to be announcing, there's a 60-second PSA that's going to be playing on 260 plus Spanish radio stations. Letting people know that October 15th is National Latino AIDS Awareness Day. And it's going to be prompting people to go to the website to find out how they can do something to get involved with National Latino AIDS Awareness Day. So attend an event or different information that they could use to get information. So again, that's another reason why it's important for partners to register their events on the website, because it really lets community members know. And it's another tool for promotion, letting the community members know how to act or where to go if they wanted to go to an event. So again, it's another tool that community members use to know and find out what events are going on locally. I encourage you strongly to make sure that you register your event, register as a partner, and also create an event once you register on the website. So with that said, again, feel free to contact me with any questions or anything in the chat box, and there's going to be another section at the end where we'll answer any final questions. I'm going to meet the lines again.
Conference has been muted.
Get to this next section, which is on, so we've created this media, we've created the promotional material, distributed them, we're trying to get people to come to our events. And sometimes we get media come to our events asking us questions about what we're doing. So think about this as another way to further promote your agency and the work that you're doing. So media coverage of your organization's current efforts can be established by credibility, can establish your credibility, attract donors, and influence public opinion. So again, it could then further increase your efforts in gaining further awareness about HIV and AIDS, National Latino AIDS Awareness Day, and what your organization is doing to support Latino HIV AIDS awareness. By improving media relations, issues discussed in small staff meetings can become issues discussed throughout your community. It is imperative to foster strong media relations in order to achieve your goal as well as inform the public. So think about this. Usually when we engage media, it's kind of like free publicity, right? And media can be anything from radio, television, newspaper, blogging. Bloggers sometimes are considered or can be part of media coverage. So there's things that you should be doing before your event to prepare for media coverage, during your event, and also after. So, and you'll see that these come directly from one of the resource sheets that are part of the campaign kit. But before your event, you need to know your audience, who is covering your story, who will read your story. Make sure you're picking the appropriate type of media for your target audience. So again, making sure that you invite the appropriate media outlets that have a following that you're trying to reach, right? So think about Univision, Telemundo, La Opinión if you're, we're talking about Spanish newspapers. And definitely local radio stations, right? That cater to the Latino community. The message, keep your message short, 1 or 2 sentences stating the objective of your event and what do people need to know. So again, very short sound bites that can really resonate with the people that you're trying to reach or the promotion that you're trying to make. Create a timeline for sending out press releases, media alerts, and the initial outreach a few months before the event. I know we're about a month away, but it's still within time and reason to do this, where you're sending out press releases, media alerts, and creating outreach to some of these news outlets, media outlets to do so. About a month and a half before, so around this time, the event, send out information, stories, and articles relating to your event and about HIV in your community. So again, using some of those materials that you created using the 4 Ps and sending out and circulating that to the media outlets. Ask and discuss with reporters in advance which topics are most likely to be covered. So asking them, hey, this is what's going on with Latinos and HIV, trying to get their buy-in as far as what they might want to cover to really speak to what's going on locally. Indicate what you are, indicate that you are their contact person at the event and provide them with all of your contact information so that, again, if they do attend your event, they know who to reach out to. So giving them your number and also having something to access you via phone when you're at the actual event in case you want to stop by and do any type of media coverage there. For your speech, write down bullet notes. Don't write a speech and read it verbatim. Again, you want to have it be natural, and this is more applicable when you're doing a press conference. And again, if you're doing a press conference, you might want to practice your speech so that you can make sure you have your talking points in order. So these are things that you want to do before your actual event or your press conference, right? During the event, you want to connect with the media as they arrive. Make sure to have them sign in so you have their contact information. Have a spokesperson ready that they can speak to in case they have any follow-up questions. Present them with the press kit and fact sheet, so information that you can download directly from the website that will provide you with it and how to access that. Start with the most important point. Again, addressing the most important things first so that people can capture that when they're writing notes down. Use positive body language. Speak with your hands. Again, try to be as lively as possible when you're communicating with them, especially if they're going to be recording that, so you can be as engaging as possible. Keep your outfits professional and no busy prints or heavy jewelry. Again, it can be kind of distracting when especially if you're doing an image or an audio or video. If you have loud outfits, it distracts from the message you're trying to promote sometimes. Answer the questions you want to answer. You don't always have to answer all the questions that people ask you. You can say, hey, I'm not comfortable answering that question, especially if it's something that's controversial or might put your agency in bad standing. And if you don't know the answer, say, hey, I'm afraid I'm not the expert in that area, but I can definitely connect you with someone that would better be able to answer that question. And the last point during your event to try to do is to try to keep answers simple while using the answer to reinforce your message. Again, remember what the theme is this year. Trying to get community members to commit. Try to give simple answers. Oftentimes complicated answers lead to complicated or confused individuals. So try to keep your answers simple. And finally, after your event, when the event interview is over, make sure the reporter got what they needed and offer to do more in case you have more questions. Collect and ask for copies of articles and broadcast stories. So again, ask them, hey, where is this going to be publicized? Where can I capture it? So you can then potentially download it, view it, share it with your partners and colleagues in your network. Send thank you notes to media outlets that cover your story. So again, building that support to get them to continue covering any events or efforts that you put forward. Ask permission to distribute articles or broadcasts to key audiences. Post them on your website. Run them in your newsletter. Again, further enhancing the fact that you got coverage and making sure that people know that, hey, I hosted an event and they got covered by Telemundo or whatever, you know? And finally, continue to send information to key media outlets by sending periodic updates, letting them know that you're still doing things and you're keeping up to date with what's happening after the fact, right? So those are key things that you can do for your NLAAD event as far as media coverage goes, and general bits of advice for that. So before we end, I want to open up the line one last time for any general comments or questions.
The conference has been unmuted.
Does anyone have any general comments or questions about anything we've talked about?
I have one question. This is Adriana from Houston. Your slides, I'm not sure if I missed that. Will those be available somewhere?
Slides? Yes, we'll send out the slides and the recording after the call.
Okay, perfect.
No problem.
I just don't have the slides. I'm just listening on the phone. That's all.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, definitely. We'll send you a link with the recording so you'll be able to view it on our YouTube channel and also the slides in case you just want to look through them. Other questions or comments?
No, pues es que él no dice que teníamos.
Wonderful. It seems like people are very lively in conversation. And that heavily. If anything comes up, you're more than welcome to contact me directly. Again, my best bet right now, being that I'm not always around my desk or at the office, is to contact me over, and that's tochoa@latinoaid.org, or you can try reaching me by phone at 212-753-288, extension 327. Again, there will be an evaluation survey that pops up on your screen at the end of the webinar. Please take a minute to fill that out. That's very helpful for us to understand whether this was useful or whether we need to modify it to make sure it's effectively related to you all.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
No?
Yeah, this is Buenaventura from 16th Street Community Health Center.
Buenaventura.
Yeah, I have a question. We are working in our event. We still haven't had everything. You have a couple things to do this week. Have everything done. Register after the event.
I'm sorry. You know, it's getting kind of hard to hear you. Because there's some background noise.
I'll send you an email.
Yeah, can you do that, please?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I wasn't able to answer your question right now. It's getting kind of hard to hear. Is Gladys asks, is there funding available for the marketing efforts? Really, we as the Latino Commission on AIDS don't have any funding available. I wish we did. Funding on our end is actually pretty scarce. All I would be surprised that at what minimal level we have resources right now, but we're trying to make sure that NLAAD is still up and alive and making sure that we provide as much support as possible, make sure that you all are able to running. So with that said, I'm sorry guys, but we ourselves don't have funding available. But again, as we talked about during last week's webinar, there are means in which, and oftentimes, you don't always need a lot of money to do or funding to do marketing. Marketing can be anything from using social media to, and a lot of some of these media outlets you don't need to pay them to do that. So even though funding sometimes is scarce, there's very creative ways in which you can incorporate the 4 Ps to try to address marketing effectively. Sometimes those grassroots efforts when it comes to marketing are more effective than trying to do large radio by advertisements. So I encourage you all to reach out to radio stations directly and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And oftentimes a lot of media outlets will want to cover that themselves directly as a general social cause or benefit to the community. So with that said, we're going to end it here, and again, feel free to contact me over email, navigate anything that you might have pressing for National Latino AIDS Wednesday. Again, very excited to see what you guys all have planned, and don't forget to register on the website and register your events so that people know where to go to.
Yeah, I know.
Wonderful. Hey, have a good week. Are you on Twitter? Yes, we are on Twitter. Our Twitter account, Karen just has support on Twitter. NLAAD can be found on Twitter by going to, our handle is NLAAD, NLAAD. That's another way in which you can access. Karen, sorry, I don't have a personal Twitter account. I just keep it my professional one with NLAAD. So I'm the one behind that one as well, though. So if you reach out to there, I'll make sure to answer that through there. Thank you all again, and again, don't hesitate to contact me with any questions that you might feel you want to ask directly based on what you're going through. Great. So have a great rest of the week, and I look forward to being in contact with you guys throughout email and also phone calls. All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.